Jabronis, whiteboard stuff, man. So today, home services. Everything I talk about is typically geared towards commercial. A lot of construction stuff, even though it's still service. A lot of my service stuff, it's all commercial. Now, I've had a lot of people talk to me about home services stuff and what do I think about it. I have done it before. I worked at a company, I came and we built it up to where we had 7 service techs all doing, for the most part, residential. And I'm going to give you my blueprint for doing it like zero money, no, because here's my thoughts on the standard way that it goes down, right? What you're going to hear a lot on YouTube is people say, get a fancy wrap, spend a bunch on advertising and all your website and all this stuff, and that stuff works, okay? But in order for it to work, it takes time, it takes money, it takes resources, there's a lot of things that have to happen, right? You need to be able to have marketing, like your marketing be your main source of revenue coming in, right? Of acquiring customers. So I'm going to give you a way that I think works without spending all the money on marketing, where you can grow the bones for the company. You know what I mean? Like you can build a good, sustainable company and then incorporate that advertising to make it more sustainable and get you, out of the truck and get you into the office. So the first thing is obviously Google. God, I can't write for shit. Google My Business. Oh my God. I'm really good at spelling. Google My Business. That's the first step. Get that set up, start getting reviews out. There's lots of ways to do that. So that's what I did in the past. I worked at a company that had like 2 reviews from just people who on their own, volition went and made reviews. So this was in 2017. So things are a little bit different now, but I got this app called Podium. And it's still available. It was $240 back then. I don't know what it does now. I think it's different. It doesn't do all the same shit. But all it did was it made it easy for me to send a link to customers to get a Google review. Nowadays, if you get your Google My Business set up, and you need to be active on the Google My Business. This is the best form of marketing I think there is for a lot of guys that are starting out that want to do home services. Is Google My Business is free. That's just if you Google, if you Google my plumbing, my company, Dyson Plumbing Services, I'll pull up. I've got 5 reviews because I don't want you fucking calling. I got too much business as it is. I do commercial. I don't need reviews. I don't want reviews. But this is the opposite. So, you want your company to be, you need to set up your Google My Business profile. You need to be uploading photos all the time. You need to be getting reviews all the time. Now, on the Google My Business profile, there's a link that you can just, without any other software and shit, it's kind of ghetto, you can get that link and just send that link directly to your customers. And a lot of your customers are going to know you're small and shit. So they're not, it's not like super professional, but they're going to want to help you grow, okay? So that's the first step. That's number 1, okay? Number 2 is Nextdoor, okay? Nextdoor. This is fucking huge. Nextdoor set me up when I first started. I had my buddy Guillermo. His name's Jeremy. He works here for me. When we first started out, we were doing pretty well, but his mom made a post on Nextdoor. And she just took a picture of my truck. She said, "Oh my God, these plumbers were so wonderful. They did a great job, blah, 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 blah." It literally led to so many calls. So, I think whenever you first start out, it's you, right? This is the best service your company's probably ever going to give. Because you're super motivated, you're hungry, you're the owner, you're the guy that really wants this deal to be closed. So it's going to be the best work you've ever done in your life. So once you get out there, you are going to be wowing people. You're going to be impressing people, right? And so it's not that big of an ask to do a killer job for somebody. Maybe find a way to show some value. They're like, hey, this bathroom sink's always been draining slow, and you can, take apart the P-trap and clean out the pop-up assembly and get that thing draining fast and do it for free, right? Well, that little bit will go a long way with that customer. You can say, man, if you would do something on Nextdoor, that would help me out. You can't believe how much work I could get from people making posts like that. And that shit stacks up, right? And I've talked about it before, dude. One of my fucking heroes on YouTube, Plumbing Right, Drumming Left. I don't know, his channel is it's like ASMR for me almost, man. I watch his videos and they relax. Anyway, the way he does it is basically just kind of like this shit. And he is fucking living the life. He's just carting around fucking Virginia, within 15 miles of his house, making an awesome living, going home, jamming out. And that's those 2 right there will get you going. Now what I did, the third thing I did was cheap leads, okay? Because Now these leads that I'm talking about, they're worthless to me. They're worthless to me at this point, right? Because my fat ass is here in the office in my stupid khakis talking to you guys. I'm not in the field anymore, so things are different. You're just starting out. You have an edge. The edge is paying. You can like combine like your profit and your pay because you're in the field doing the work. So you can still kind of operate like you. We'll talk about pricing in a minute, but like you can still operate cheaper than other companies, charging what you need to charge up front when you first start out. Because we're trying to build bones. Because no one gives a fuck about you when you first start out, right? You're an unproven entity. You got to be bringing something to the table. You can't just say, "Hey, I'm new to this fucking area. I'm a new company in this area. Let me charge you the same as Baker Brothers or fucking Roto-Rooter, the companies that have been around forever and everybody knows." You can't do that. You got to have something that you're bringing to the table, right? So the cheap leads. For me, what I did, and this is available right now. This is not. No one paid. Guys, y'all know that there's no sponsorships and shit, right? No one fucking pays me besides like I just get ad revenue from YouTube for just the like. No one pays me shit. So all this is just honest stuff. But cheap leads. What I did was Yelp. And I honestly, like, again, it's worthless to me now. Have no use in it right now. But I think for starting out, it was fucking wonderful. Because they gave me $300 in free leads. I paid $100, and they gave me $300 in free leads. It was like $400 total. And the way these leads work is you set up your Yelp profile, which did get me organic calls by itself as well. Kind of like not like the Google My Business does, but it got me some organic leads as well. But you set up that Yelp profile, and what happens is if someone goes on to Yelp and they're like, "I'm trying to find a plumber to fix my garbage disposal." And they'll send that out to a couple plumbers, and you reply back pretty quick, "Hey, it's $69 for me to come out, or $89 for me to come out, and I'll give you a price, and here's my phone number, give me a call to schedule," or, however you want to work it. You can find it. It's not easy to close. Like, I can't do it anymore at my size. But when I was the guy in the truck working, it was a fucking beautiful way to get going. And so those cheap leads, they helped out a lot. And so just between all three of these things here, I was able to get enough business to do $10K a week, okay? But here is the real, that's to start kind of driving some call volume, okay? Now, none of this matters if you're not providing value, if you're not doing a good job, okay? If you're not doing a good job, this is all for nothing. Like, what's the point in you existing if you suck, right? So that's to get started. Now, before you get started, this is another lead to get business, okay? Like if you're working for a company right now and you're like, "Okay, I'm gonna take my master license in 6 months, I'm gonna be on my own." What you need to start doing right now is looking for leads right now. Realize that where you're working for someone else, like people are seeing you, okay? So if you're gonna start a business, you should know some people in this industry before you start, right? Like I wouldn't be able to just come in and get this business going without all the connections I've made for years and years and years. So if you're starting a plumbing company, I think it's a safe assumption to assume that there are people that you can call to get some work, right? Now, homeowners are not that lead, right? So this is where the home services and commercial stuff breaks down. So I do think you want some commercial connections, okay? I know we're talking about home services, but connects. You want commercial connects because you can use that. Now, what I did is I used commercial to drive residential, churches, schools, like any type of community stuff, like the karate thing. We did work for the karate dojo, and we got a lot of business off of that. The daycares, we did work for the daycares, got a lot of residential business off of that. And so in churches, the same thing. The bingo hall guy knew fucking everybody in town, and once we started doing some work for him, he got us a ton of residential calls, right? So there's people who kind of make shit happen. Like if you're so before you start, make sure you get those commercial connects, because don't turn down the commercial, right? Like just like right now, I do $250,000 jobs. I will still go do a residential call because I'm not looking for it. I'm not searching it out, but like I'm not turning down good business. If it's a good call, if it's somebody that called me organically, cost me $0 in a lead, and I'm gonna be able to go out and operate on my gross margin, why the fuck wouldn't I take it, right? I take it every time. And so should you with the commercial, because that's a good way for you to get more like sustainable kind of longevity stuff. I'm not telling you to go try to become a big commercial maintenance company, like kind of like my size shit. I'm saying like be available for restaurants in town, the fucking post office, all types of shit. And that's just gonna get you in the door to more people to see you, okay? And with all that combined, that's when you can, to me, that's when you can start branding, okay? Because what is your brand, okay? What is your brand, okay? And it's easy. It has nothing to do with fucking kick charge and shit like that, because and the logo, your design, all that. Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Okay, that's what your brand is. Whenever you're not there and people can speak freely, if they say that guy's a jackass, your brand is that of a jackass. Okay, if they say that guy is fucking rock solid, he's the shit, your brand is the guy that's known as rock solid and the shit. So that's really what your brand is. So you need to get that going before you start. Make sure that while you're working now, you're not working like some asshole that's just trying to get one over on the boss. You're working like you own the company, you're grinding, and then you're making those connections with people who matter, and you're building that brand. So as soon as you start, there's people you can call who maybe it is a homeowner, but he's at the Elk Lodge, or he's a fucking mason, or he's a deacon at the church. You can call him and say, hey man, I just started my business, I'm really getting going. If there's anybody that needs plumbing work, let them know. And trust me, man, with you building that brand, those people want to help you. People want to help you. Like, most people are awesome, okay? So, that's before you start. Now, once you are going, you need to price to get projects. Okay? So, price to get projects. That's where you're going to make your money, is in projects. It's not really even if you're doing residential service. When I did residential service, the way I was able to hit 20 grand a week with an install crew, not by myself, but it was through selling tankless heaters, water heaters, slab leaks, sewer relays, softeners, bigger shit, right? So you want your price to get the bigger projects. And so when you first start out, you're fucking nobody. You are not a hotshot. You're not on the same level as a Berkey's, right? Or any big service company. You're not on that level. So you can maybe convince some people to pay those prices, but it's not, like, you can fool some people sometimes. You can't fool everybody all the time. Let's have an infallible system. Let's not try to fool anybody. Let's build a system that works for everybody. Because you can still, if it works for the hard asses, it's going to work for the fucking rubes too. And we don't want to take advantage of anybody anyhow. So you want a price to get big projects. Whenever you first start out, you can be a little cheaper. I had to raise my prices significantly over time, but I wouldn't have, if I started out charging what I'm charging now, I wouldn't be here. Okay, I don't give a fuck what any of these other people say. You got to be bringing something to the table. Unless you have like some sort of specialty or some sort of in with somebody, for the most part, you're going to have something you're bringing to the table. So price to get projects. What does that mean? This is why I don't really like flat rate. I try to quote out any job that's going to be over $1,000. I'm trying to quote it out. Okay, that's my goal, is to not have a set price, to be able to give you a quote to do work. And so quoted work. Look out. Quoted work. This is going to be your secret weapon right here, okay, to start getting fucking banging weeks. You need to figure out, what do you want to get paid, right? You own the business, but you're a one truck chuck. You're out there in the field, so you want to make at least $600 a day, okay? $600 per day. And we're going to say that includes your pay and your payroll taxes, right? And then we need to figure a little bit extra for fucking your truck and shit like that, so we're going to figure another $100 per day. Okay, so you need to be at, figuring your labor cost at $700 per day, because you got to make big money and you're the best plumber in the world, so that's your labor cost. This is not your sale price, okay? So then materials times 2, okay? Materials times 2, labor $700 a day. So you're going to be able to sell projects, bigger jobs that take a day, 2 days of work, and that's how you're really going to make your weeks and your months have a lot of revenue. And the best way to do that when you're starting out, because you're not going to have a bunch of money in marketing, we're going to do it the free way. Before you start, you're going to make a lot of connections. You're going to have a lot of people that know your name, people that you can call, and just that right there is going to get you 5-6 calls a month, okay? And then once you're going, you price your projects. You can afford to be cheaper than me. You can get a job that you can do as good as me, because you're the owner. You're the one doing it, right? You may be able to do a better job than my company because I'm not in the field anymore. I'm counting on my guys, right? You're in the field, And if you're, let's say you think this job's gonna take 2 days, okay? It's a bathroom remodel. Let's just say it's a small bathroom remodel. You're gonna demo some shit out, move some shit around in the wall, all in one day. You're gonna come back a second day to set fixtures, okay? So you're thinking it's 2 days, and you think the material that you're gonna buy is $1,000. Okay, which by the way, if you're saying the material you're gonna buy is $1,000, realistically you think it's gonna be like $650. You're adding lots of fluff to be safe, right? So let's just say this job we assume is 2 days, and okay, let's actually change this. We assume it's 2 days and $600 in material. Okay, the way I would price that if I'm first starting out is I would price it at 2.5 days of labor, and then I would price this at $1,000 for my cost to be safe, right? 2 days cost. Okay, so 2.5, 2.5 days cost, because it's probably going to take me 2. I'm going to figure a little extra. My cost is $700 a day. 2.5 times 700 equals 1,400, 1,750. Okay, 1,750, and then my material is, I'm figuring it's 1,000. I want to double that. So materials 2x 1,000 equals $2,000. Okay, so my total cost of goods sold for that project I'm trying to sell is $3,750. Okay, $3,750 is what I'm gonna figure my cost is. Okay, so that is your company making $0. That's you paying the bills. You're the worker, so you getting paid as the worker does not count as profit for the business. And the business needs profit. It needs gross profit, gross margin to operate. So let me get a calculator. This is where you have the real edge when you first start out, okay? So you're figuring this job's gonna cost you $3,750. Realistically, it's probably gonna cost you $3,000, not $3,750. We're just figuring extra to be safe. But $3,750 divided by 0.6, 40% gross on this service stuff, is gonna put you at $6,250, okay? $6,250. Now, this $3,750 gets you paid, it pays all the materials, it covers some extra fluff and a little bit of time for your truck and shit. But the extra, the $6,250 that you sell it for, sale price, that extra like $2,500 or whatever it is, that's what keeps your business operating. That's what pays for insurance. That's what pays for, you know, we had a job that went south on us. Someone fucking broke into our truck and stole all our tools. Like all time, there's so many variables that you basically, you have to figure the cost. And then you get a pretty good, like you can do a 40% gross. You could take that number down lower. You could say $3,750 and do a 30% gross divided by 0.7 and be more competitive. But for this job, this $6,250, my price, and I'm a little bit cheaper than some of the big guys, my price is gonna be about $9K for that, $9,500K minimum. So you have that edge. You're gonna be able to get paid real good, keep a lot of money in your business, and beat me out, and you're doing a better job, right? And so that's gonna give you those bones to where, hey, every week, come hell or high water, I'm generating 10+K in revenue. Maybe you got a guy you're using as a helper that's costing you a little bit of money, but you're probably gonna be able to gross $5,000 a fucking week. You know what I mean? And what's your fucking insurance when you're a one-man truck? Like all together, including your vehicle, it's like $1,000. So with this system, you don't have to fucking have credit cards. You don't have to have a marketing company. Like you want to get this going and get to where you're starting to generate that gross margin, right? You're getting paid, you're paying the materials, and now we got money in the business. And that's when you start reinvesting in those things, and it will be successful, right? But if you're trying to do this shit on credit cards or with no real skin in the game, you're just gonna spend your money. You're gonna invest all this money to throw it away, right? Once you're steady taking calls, that's when we can fucking, once all this is in place, right? Because this pricing model will make you fucking money. I promise you it will make you money. The only way you can do it is if you're a badass, if you really know what it's gonna take you, how much money you're gonna need, materials and time and all that, which if you don't know that, don't start a fucking company, right? So this will get you these jobs. And once you're getting these jobs that cost you $3,750, you're selling them for $6,250, you're actually doing them for even less than we thought. Maybe it only takes you a day and a half. That same week you do a water heater, 2 drain blockages, 10 fucking grand in revenue that week, and it was on fucking 3 or 4 calls, okay? You roll that out, that's $500,000 a year for one guy making $250K a year. So that's my model, and there's no fucking gimmicks. The pricing makes sense to people. we're not trying to, you can flat rate here and there some basic small things you do all the time, like say you change hose bibs, you say, hey, 255 for a hose bib. Say you do angle stops a lot, or you install a house model toilet, for $850 or something. You can have some flat rate, but the goal should be to try to quote things and use this system where you're just basing off margin, because that's ultra competitive. You're gonna be cheaper than the big guys, and you can, because you have your marketing and your bones were free. You built this the free way. It didn't cost you any money, maybe $400 on Yelp, and this shit works. So 20 fucking minutes. Oh man, no one's gonna watch this shit.